Hi, I'm Jale. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a general collective reading for today. Apologies for the lateness. I've just been filming 2 of the videos. We've got a Virgo that's going to be uploaded today, later on today, next 3 hours. And then we've got Libra's reading as well that's coming in tomorrow. So I've just been filming that. But how is everyone doing? Obviously, we've just had Saturn going direct. We are due to have a full moon on the 1st in Aries, and then we've got Pluto going direct on the 4th. Then Mercury in retrograde coming up on the 14th. So we've got a lot of movement here. How's everyone doing? Is everyone feeling the shift? Not feeling the shift? Let's have a look. Hi, Karen. I hope you're doing well. How are you feeling? Any movement? Any movement? No? Yes? I've just finished Virgo's reading and Libra's reading. Or bear. I was like, wow. I'm going to just give you a heads up. This whole energy we're moving into is all bringing up all the shadow. All of the shadow is being brought up right now. Every repressed energy you can think of is being brought up. This Aries full moon is going to be insane. I'm not even going to lie. And Pluto going direct on the 4th. Anyway, let's go. I'm going to use the Good Tarot today. I haven't used this deck for a while. For me personally, had a great and positively busy days. That's good. That's very good. Hello, Joanna. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us. How was your Saturn going direct? Any shifts? I keep saying that in a really weird way. Any shifts? Yeah. If it's been positive, that's awesome, because I feel like it's going to move quite quickly. I feel I'm well. Awesome. Good to hear. Thank you for your like. I appreciate you, whoever that was. Let's see. Let's jump in. We're going to use a Good Tarot today. Let's have a look. Okay. These cards were flying absolutely everywhere earlier. So let's see what happens here. Okay, Spirit, what is it we need to be aware of, please? Yeah. 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 Right, I'm going to just give this message. Okay. I'm going to give the message. We've got Page of Cups. We've got Patience. Okay. I'm going to be really honest with you. We've also got the Sun. There's a lot of energy at the moment that people are choosing fear, shadow element. People want to hold on to things because it's like a security net. So if, let's say, for example, you're waiting on movement or change, or you're not waiting at all, you're just you're just biding your time or whatever. Let's say, for example, this is a kind of divine guided relationship, okay, versus a karmic relationship. The wounds of the karmic relationship are being relayed to one another. So let's say, for example, it's an inner child wound where this person has got codependent connections and energies where they bring relationships into their lives to reflect the wounds from their childhood. There'll be shifts in that karmic relationship where things will look like it's moving forward, but they'll be drawn back to each other because the wounds is still there. So Saturn's essentially moving the time forward, and things are starting to come to light. They're starting to become layers and layers of truth that is going to be revealed. But the core wound, unless it's actually dealt with, which at the moment I feel will be, but it's like we're going to be going a little bit 4 steps forward, 1 step back. And the reason for that is because the core wounds are not being looked at. I'll give you an example. If it's a karmic relationship where, again, it's like the love or the connection has been built on feeling like there's an emotional connection when there isn't, it's because that person hasn't worked on their own inner emotions. So they're relying on that externally. And when they're relying on that externally, they're not going to release it, because to them it's an illusionary energy of, if I release this, I'm going to release my, about me. Because someone hasn't learned here. And again, this is, I don't know what collective I'm tapping into, but someone's not learning, or there's a lesson here about love and inner love, self-love. And the need to want to do something with someone else because it validates a feeling of the self, when it's a false illusionary nature. It's not. It's, or I can't leave that person because I'm going to be alone, right? It's illusionary. This is inner child energy of a wound that's not been dealt with. And so again, we're attracting and mirroring that energy back to us. And so the core wound isn't being addressed. Now, let's say, for example, you go, but that's not me. That's not my situation. There's someone else that I'm dealing with that's dealing with that. Okay, but there will be a mirroring element that you're also holding on to. The idea is to identify that mirroring element and work with it so that you can then heal the other element to your connection. That's the message coming through, because this is about patience and inner child work. This is very strong inner child work here. It's like the time's up. Okay, so the time on the clock with Saturn now going direct, we're being allowed to be free to choose. Okay, so people are going to be choosing things, but they're not going to be choosing exactly the right things yet, because they don't have an element of awareness that spirit are asking for, because it's like they're being let out the gates blindfolded for a reason, because people don't know what they want. And there's a reason for that. It's because, again, let's say, for example, maybe everyone will listen to this is like, oh, 100% I know what I want. Okay, then that's great. It means that your connection is probably very much progressing, if that's the case. But if you're not 100% sure what you're not wanting, you're going to be reflecting that back. There is so many mirroring elements to this energy now moving forward, especially because Pluto's going direct on the 4th. Pluto is that death and rebirth generational energy. So anything that we feel we haven't resolved is going to be totally mirrored back, right? And this is what you're going to move into. So whatever you do, hello, Rebecca. Hello, Tina. Hi, Lillian. Hi, Mia. Thank you so much for joining us. So whatever you're not 100% confident with in, let's say, it could be emotional capacity, it could be in terms of career direction, it could be in terms of soul mission, it could be in terms of life path, that is going to be reflected back to you now. And there'll be an element of removal with this Pluto energy that's kind of, because again, Pluto going direct, we're talking about scorpionic energy, which is a very strong rebirth, phoenix rising from the ashes, that kind of closure. What are we closing out to release? And again, we're talking about a layer and layer and layer, because we're not going to suddenly just integrate our shadow self after X amount of years on the planet and be like, here we go. Now, obviously, light workers, the idea is that we do that first and we work on that first, and then we support people to move forward in that. That's the idea of it. But at the moment, it's like a free-for-all. Do you know what I mean? Because everyone's like running around like headless chickens. I don't know if you've already experienced that, but that's essentially the kind of energy that we're being let into at the moment. Now, you wait till this full moon on the 1st with this Aries energy, because you're going to get that slap bang in the middle of this emotional release. Then scorpionic Pluto energy, Pluto being in Capricorn, devil energy. I know people get offended when I call, Capricorns, but the tarot card of the devil is associated with the sign of Capricorn. And the Pluto is going direct. So there's going to be temptations. There's going to be illusionary energy. And it's going to reflect back wounds that we have. Okay. We're going to be lulled into all kinds of things unless we're balanced. If we're not balanced, if we haven't resolved our shadow elements, and don't get me wrong, I'll be really honest with you, I'm holding my hands up. I've already failed my lesson. I'm going to be honest. I'm being real here. I've already been tested and I failed. I'm 100% going to be honest with you. I already failed. My guides were like, Jale, what are you doing? I'm like, no, see, I know what's best. And they're like, oh, let's see then. No, I already failed. Right off the bat. And do you know what it is? I can honestly say to you, if you had to put anything in front of me, that was my weakness. If they had to pick the one thing, right, my heart, like what's in my heart, and placed it and said, right, are you going to trust that if you're patient, this is going to come to you, or are you going to give into your urges? And I was like, hell no, I'm a Mars and Aries here. What are you doing? Let me go. And my guides were like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, listen, I know what I'm doing. And my guides were like, okay, then. And then immediately after, my guides are kind of like this. They're like, are you happy now? And I'm like, no, I'm not happy. They're like, why is that? So they knew, they gave me a heads up and I ignored it. So don't beat, if you fall for what I fell for, don't beat yourself up, because this is how we learn sometimes, especially me. I'm the world's most stubborn human being sometimes. It is ego. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be totally real with you there. So I'm not even going to lie. It wasn't, I should have known. I should have known. Clearly, I've got learning to do. Clearly, I'm still needing to learn here. So, you know, we keep going with it. We keep going with it. But yeah, I've already failed my lesson. So, and I'm pretty disappointed, but I'm determined not to fall for this now, because I keep getting caught out, you know. So again, if this is you and you're in that same energy, don't beat yourself up, because listen, we're only human. We try our best, and sometimes we're not robots. So give yourself a bit of a break, because again, Libra energy, very fluctuating energy, light and dark. All right. So again, with that absorption of energy and there's that imbalance, make sure that you're trying to balance yourself as best you can, because you, again, if you haven't, you're so sweet. Karen, I'm telling you now, I listen, I'm so sweet, because I'm really not so sweet. I've failed. I'm secretly fuming that I fell for that, because it was so obvious. It was like, Jale, this is the oldest trick in the book. How could you fall for that? My guides are all watching me like, you're an absolute idiot. And I'm like, yeah. yeah, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. That's terrible to say that. I shouldn't really absorb that energy, because it's not the best self-talk, but I have a good sense of humor. What can I say? I know, Joanna. Yes, I failed. I did. I'm going to hold my hands up. I accept blame and responsibility where it's due. I will accept that. And I definitely, they did it. I swear to God, it was within a minute of, you know, when you just kind of notice, you can tell there's a shift. Saturn is moving forward, and it's like, boom. Yeah. So just, guys, be aware, and don't forget, if you try your hardest and you still, it just means you're not ready for your blessing. And it doesn't mean to say you're never going to get a blessing or anything, or you're a terrible human being. It just means you're not ready for what's coming in. So the failure isn't, you don't have to sit and beat yourself up forever. It just means that what's coming, you're not ready for yet. So to view it like that, that's how I'm viewing it, because my guide's like, yeah, you're not ready. Otherwise you wouldn't have fallen for that. You know, so view it in that way, that actually, if you're ready, you're ready. You know, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It just means that we have to learn a little bit more before the time is right. It just means the time isn't right. And do you know what the worst thing is I even freaking predicted it in one of my readings. I watched the video back and I was like, Jale, oh, Tina, bless you. I mean, I've got to be honest. There's no point otherwise. There's no point. I'm telling you this because I want you guys. I honestly, for me, listen. If it means that I can help you guys, I'm happy with that. I'm not massively happy that I've been that silly to fall for it, but I wasn't ready. There's no point me trying to rush. There's no trying to cut corners. Like I said, I would rather do things right, and the 100% right way, than cut corners. And I've already said to the universe, I know what's coming. I already know what's here. From what I did, I already know what the outcome to that is. I already know. I know what the downfall of what I did is, and I'm prepared to walk into that and learn, you know. All my ancestors are tutting at me in their Turkish ways, like you know, like the normal Turkish way of, oh, Jale, you know. This is so helpful. Thanks for being so open. I have to be. There's no point me doing this job if I'm not. There's no point. Truth, illumination, the sunflowers, you know, directional energy. 9 of Cups, your wish fulfillment. Your wish fulfillment is coming. If you're not ready for your wish fulfillment, you are not going to. There's no point the universe handing this, what you're wanting, your desires, your wishes, everything on a plate to you, if you're not going to be ready for it. Because all you're going to do is sit there and, let me find something here. All you're going to do is sit there and go, when you get it, which is basically why they've tested us. They test us to make sure we're ready. And if we're not ready, it's not the end of the world. It just means we've got work to do and we know where to focus. So pay attention. Again, what have I been telling you guys? They do that to me first. Now, this is not going to be for everyone watching this. For some of you, yes. For some of you, yes. For some of you, not so much. But again, the reason sometimes they do this to me first to make sure that when I mess up, that I let everyone know. Because then that can help you guys, you know. And I'll tell you what, I'm not falling for that again. And, you know, I asked them 4 times because I already knew the answer and they were like, Jale, don't do it. And I asked them, I asked every single, my go-tos. They're like, all 4 of them, no, don't do it, Jale. And what did I do? Well, I know better. No, you don't, Jale. No, you really don't. So time to accept the lesson moves on, you know. Ha ha ha. Yeah, Rebecca. That's all I could hear. And I was like, and I know who it was. My dede's not impressed. My ded is really not impressed with me. He's like, I thought you know, in that kind of, you know what I'm talking about, that kind of, we thought there was more to you. And I was like, no, I don't, like, that's the worst part is when it was a rookie error. That was a total rookie error. And it's not, don't get me wrong, someone's going to be getting offended by me saying this, I can guarantee it, but it's the bigger context. I don't regret doing it, but it's the bigger context of the knock-on effect. That's what I regret. I don't regret doing it. I don't regret doing it at all. It's the wider implication that you've got to be aware of. See, they're sneaky. You got to be aware of the sneakiness behind this kind of stuff. You feel it in your bones, that one. Yeah, you really do, especially when it comes to Turkish culture. You know how they work. They do not let you get away with anything. You know, it's like this is why people, or you'll understand this, Rebecca, when people go, oh, you know, how did you deal with all these, you know, these kind of these things, these negative comments and stuff like that. And I'm like, you're joking me, aren't you? I was brought up in a Turkish household. This is the mum and the dad were like the biggest trolls on planet Earth. You know, you can't get away with anything. Any kind of insecurity you may have is going to be brought out in the 100th degree, and it's going to be given everywhere. And if you're insecure, it will just keep going. If you've got any vulnerability at all, it's going to be just brought up over and over and over again. Yeah, it is true, isn't it? It's like, and I swear there's a couple of Turks on TikTok doing the whole Turkish meme stuff, where it's like, listen, trolls, that doesn't affect me. You've got to live with Turkish parents, and then you know the true meaning of a troll, because it's like it just bounces off people now. It's like one big troll. And again, if anyone is a Londoner watching this, again, the Londoner's sense of humour is 100% the same thing. You get ripped to shreds. Doesn't matter what sex you are, female, male. That's the banter. That's the giggle that people go with. So it's like I've got it on both sides. My mum's very Turkish, even though she's English. She was brought up, obviously, married my dad young. But it was the banter and the sense of humour they have. So I went round my aunt's house once wearing these earrings, and my aunt turned around to me. She's English. She turned around and she went, "You look like a gypsy, Jale." Doesn't care. Now, apologies if that's offending anybody. I know that can be deemed as a very derogatory kind of course. It's, you know, it's not the greatest thing to say to someone, of course. So apologies if that's offending anyone. And the reason I'm laughing is because she doesn't care. Again, I'm going to be offending people here now, but my family are brutal. What can I say? So you gotta roll with the punches there. I'm going to be offending everyone here. Everyone's clicking off now. Right, okay, let's move forward. Right, let's see. Messages, please. Messages. What are the messages here? Oh, dear. Oh, we've got a tower moment here. Oh, dear. You feel me? I hope you don't. Oh, dear. Right. We've got some Queen of Air. Bingo. Yeah, bingo. Tower card. That's not with the family, I meant. Yeah, I know. It's an interesting ride. Queen of Air, Queen of Swords. Where do I begin with this energy? There is, I don't even know where to begin with this energy. There is an existing structure of a situation, a relationship, a family that is closing out, okay? Karmic relationships are closing out. The energy here is at what extent and how drastically. I'm going to be very honest with you. For some of you, you're going to be given an opportunity to make a fair ride of this and because again, Queen of Swords can be very fair, but with the Tower, this is someone who a very defensive energy. So just be very aware. And again, it's very easy to fall into that same defensive energy and controlling energy. Just be aware of that. Because again, Pluto is that kind of releasing, all right? But do we want to allow the release? Is it for our good or our well-being, our highest and best interest? Or because people are going to be, again, with this full moon in Aries, fire energy. Let me just go into that a minute to give this context here and really build a picture up for you guys, because I want to make sure everyone's getting this, because this is a big one, test-wise. I'm not just making this up now. This is a big one. So Aries energy is very pioneer, spirit-led. It's very fiery. It's extremely impulsive. My Mars and my Mercury is in Aries. So like it is 0 to 100. It is, let me just fall into something and think about it, like a release of suddenly it's gone, you know, it's like a slingshot. Again, I keep using this analogy, but it is. You're basically putting a fireball into a slingshot. All right. And then you're going, bing, release. Let's see what happens. This is what happens. A structure crumbling. It's a balloon being popped. It's a bubble being burst. It's an illusion shifting and going, oh my goodness, was that there before? Yes. This is security, Ace of Pentacles. So what do you hold, you know, what do you kind of hold on to security wise? This is root chakra energy. Your urges, your instincts, your primal energy. All right. So be aware of maybe opportunities that fall to the wayside. Is that meaning to fall to the wayside? Because this, you've got to remember, there's an illusionary energy as well here, because we've just had the moon conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So you've just had the moon crossing Neptune in Pisces, giving that very illusionary energy. It's going to cross Chiron, the wounded healer. Then it's going to go into full moon. So it's bringing up all of that energy. So if something releases, look at it and go, and you may get to the point where you don't want to just look at it and go, is this for my highest and best interest? You might want to run ahead and be like, I don't care. I'm going to keep doing that because I have to make sure that I'm filling you guys in first. Because if I only, not that they didn't fill me in, they did. But I was too busy. I didn't want to look at the bigger picture. That's what this is. Now, this is different for a control issue, and I want to hold on to something that's different. This for me was, how do I try and define this? A trust issue. This was a trust issue. I didn't trust. I was like, yeah, it was me trusting me. I didn't trust. That's big. Because what I'm basically now saying is we have to go around this loop again, because I didn't learn. So again, if you get an instinct in amongst this energy, and you know for a fact your guides are like, or maybe you can hear me in your head, because I keep getting clients saying that to me, like, oh, I heard you in my head saying don't do it, and I was like, did it work? And they're like, yeah. And again, don't even listen to me, just listen to you. You know, make sure you're staying focused with this, because, and it's not, listen, some of this is not going to be the end of the world. Let's also put that into context. You know, you're a human being. We're not freaking robots. So we have to be realistic. But this is about balance. This is all about balance. Recalibration. Can you pull that energy back in time to really look at this from a very balanced perspective? Because I didn't, you know. 6 Wands, success. Looks like you guys are going to do a lot better job than I did. Of course, I'm joking now. I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek with this because I kind of, again, my ancestors are all taking the mick out of me. You know what the deal is. All the Turks and the Londoners in the chat, you're going to know the deal. It's just what we're used to. Hanged man. Wait until the perspective, you gain the perspective that you know is in alignment with what this is showing you. And that's going to be different for everyone. I'd love to sit here and give examples. Maybe we could get a few examples through. Again, if you find it hard to trust your instincts, if you find it very difficult to trust your instincts, go with the first answer you get. All right, because again, that was my right answer, and I was like, why do I have to be sensible? I don't want to be sensible. I didn't trust that was for the good of me. I didn't want to be sensible. That was my issue. I was like, God, I'm always being sensible. I don't want to be sensible. I'm always doing the right thing. I'm always trying to do the right thing. I'm always trying to be, you know, grounded. And I was like, I don't want to be grounded and boring. And I just want to throw caution to the wind and have a bit of an adventure here. And well, I got what I asked for, didn't I? You know, you always get what you ask for as well. That's the other thing. You want adventure, they give you adventure. All right. So just gain perspective. This is going to be really important. Can you see the Hanged Man is obviously hanging up with the moon behind him? This could well be building up to the full moon. All right. So just pay attention. It's going to be obvious. If this is for you, it's going to be obvious. You're probably going to sit there and go, oh my goodness, Jale said this. And again, just make sure the first instinct you have, you trust. That's how I want to say it. And you might even want to sit there and go, wonder why this is causing me so much confusion. This is going to be fast. Messenger of Swords. This is going to be, I'm not going to lie, because I'm playing this down a bit as though I'm some Wally, and I'm not going to lie, this is not going to be easy for some people. Some of you will be fine. But for those that are usually very focused, usually very good in these kind of stuff, like I'm very good under pressure. You know, when I did Big Brother and I was trapped in a house with 16 people who absolutely hated me on first sight because I was just being myself. And I spent the next 4 weeks just basically being absolutely hated on site. Everyone was just like, Jale, I don't know how you did that. But for me, this was a struggle, which means usually it's a big test, because usually I'm very good at these things. Usually. It's going to come in quick, guys. Messenger of Air. It's a very fast moving, cutting energy. All right. Don't forget, usually traditional tarot deck with that knight coming in with the sword. The sword is that clarity. All right. So again, make sure you're kind of giving yourself some time here. 10 of Cups. Looking after your emotions. Around higher learning, Hierophant. Your ultimate emotional well-being and higher learning is going to be looked at and scrutinized, is how I'm reading this. For the collective that I'm reading for. All right, so just be aware. Right, let's see. What other messages, please, Spirit? What else is going on, please? What do we need to be aware of that we haven't covered? Messages, please. I do love this deck. I do love this deck. Oh, yeah. Yes, look. Ace of Cups. Cultivate kindness in you and your own self-worth. It's like I was impatient. 100%. I was like, nah. I was impatient. Cultivate that in you. Make sure that you're really looking next few days, if you can really pamper yourself and just prepare if you get the time. Because again, with this 5 of Swords, it's like this, you're at odds. You're kind of the energy that will be coming in, you'll be at odds with yourself a little bit. Like your instincts will be like, you'll know. I think you'll all know. You'll be like, no, don't do it, or yes, do it. But then you'll be in this weird Libra energy of like this kind of like freaking tumble dryer of confusion. And then you'll be like, well, hopefully you won't. But I was like, yeah, whatever. Just, I'll be fine. My guys are like, are you mad? Patience. Again, this is the key. If I had to give you any word that's going to help, patience is the best option you can go with. If you're going to run ahead and try and get ahead of something, it's not going to work. It's not going to work, because you're going to be sat kicking yourself. All right. I wish I could give you the actual full example, but I don't think the people involved are going to want me to do that. So let's see. Here we go. Well, which way is this, please? Upright? Which way? Up? Which way is this? And this one? Yeah. So we've got the King of Swords in the reverse. This is an imbalance. So something that was usually fair, again, Libra energy, Gemini, Aquarius, something that's usually fair that's not. All right. Something that's just a little bit testy coming in with the Nine of Wands, which is, again, wounded warrior energy. Again, can you see she's holding the stars? This is all the little wounds that you feel like you've looked at and healed. This is going to be like, are you sure you healed it? That's this energy. So just, again, you're going to know what this is. If you know you've got certain things that you're working on, it could be that, you know, independence, it could be self-worth, it could be security. Maybe you know your finance issues. Maybe this is a karmic situation. Maybe this is a twin flame situation. Whatever you know is the kind of focus, or the kind of what you know you've been around. You know, again, just be aware. Right, what is the message, please, Spirit? What is the message? What is the situation here? I can't hear you. It's interesting because I'm seeing someone underwater. And it's like it's really interesting the way they're showing me this. It's like someone's underwater and I can see a sign saying testing. It's like they've immersed you someone so deep in this emotional energy. They're doing it, again, it's to form an illusionary kind of seal so you can't quite see. I mean, look, listen, Spirit, if you're doing this to try and make me feel better, look. Because let's be real, man, like, you know, I think what they're saying is the moon is going to provide this kind of illusionary emotional energy that is going to let people's guards down enough to then provide them with a test. Guys, you're going to have to let me know what these like roughly what these tests are, because I'm going to be sat. I'm going to be like this. Please, like that. They're going to be fine. Like, you know what I mean? I'm honestly, I really hope. Yeah, look, we've got the Emperor and the Two of Cups. So someone feels disconnected. This is a very moved along very quickly. Someone feels very disconnected from a love here. Emperor, divine masculine. This could also be a boss. Could be a father figure, grandfather. Oh my goodness. This might even close down in a minute because my laptop is I forgot to charge my laptop. We've got 34 minutes. If it shuts down, then I apologize. It just means my laptop's died. This is Emperor, Two of Cups in the reverse. So it's like there's this kind of feeling of loss, love loss. So this could link in with the test. It could be that because of this love loss that then leads into the lesson. But just, again, this is a divine counterpart here that feels like there's a love energy that's being lost, or feeling like they're kind of missing something here. Seven of Wands, it's a defensive energy. Again, this test could be your counterpart being tested, and then they also maybe are kind of in a defensive energy and don't see through this illusion possibly, and then there's a disconnect. If that's the case and it causes a disconnect, it just means that there's something they're missing within them that they haven't healed. Don't take it personally from where I'm looking at. Again, there's a lot of defensive energy here that I'm reading here. It's like everyone's kind of being tested a little bit and no one quite know what to do. Now, if you're not in this energy and you feel like this is not for you, then this is not for you. But this is what I'm looking at in the energy where this is leading into at the height of the energy. Someone feeling like they're defending themselves against opening up to you, possibly. But again, is it because they don't have a love for themselves yet? And so, of course, they're going to be defensive of that because, again, you know, this is maybe their test, you know. So again, if that's the case and someone's being very defensive around you, maybe they're sort of not wary about letting you in, it just means there's a wound within them, possibly inner child work, that has to be looked at. And there's this kind of core energy here, this this self-love that hasn't been cultivated yet enough to allow them to believe that you are in their life for a reason, or vice versa. So there's something around a core wound here that's might be brought up, that's going to be brought up for a release. It's designed to do that. It's not, I mean, again, it's like putting the cat amongst the pigeons. It's a classic putting a cat amongst the pigeons. So did I fail the test? I mean, theoretically, yes. But in the wider context, it had to happen because then it's triggered a knock-on effect for someone else to heal from it. So again, it's like soul contract reflecting back. It doesn't mean to say I did the right thing, but there's put it this way, this is like a chain effect here, chain reaction that we're kind of building into. So your actions are going to have, like, there's a kind of implication here with this. Again, this is going to be very important with the Hermit. Okay, so it's about finding, can you see the doorway is locked with the key on the outside? Now, yes, this is very defensive energy. It's like, bye, I'm locking you out. I don't, like, just keep away from me. Don't take it personally. If your counterpart's doing this, don't take it personally. Don't take it personally, because what it's saying is I don't really love me, and so how could you love me? Until that person understands how to cultivate that, of course they're going to block people out. Of course, that's their lesson. It's defensive. They think that you know, it's illusionary. You know, and this is the irony. The key's on the outside. Of course, you can let yourself in, but are they ready? Is this person ready yet? Okay, so there's a lot of illusionary energy here, and just, you will be fine. Just ground yourself and be patient. You know, if it's something's not ready, it's not ready. You can take a shortcut and try and make it ready and do what I did, because you know, you forget your patience. 100% you could do that, but it's not going to lead to what you think it's going to lead to. And you're going to probably know that, and then do it. Hopefully you're not going to do a me and do it anyway. Yeah, this is the problem. I'm going to be honest with you. So for me, I don't get readings. I never get readings. I listen to my guides. I've learned from a long time ago never to get, and it's no disrespect towards anyone else, I just don't get readings now, because very often that, it's not, no disrespect, but it's just that my guides don't want me to do that. They want me to cultivate. This is very difficult to do that as well when you do readings for yourself, because there's an element of ego that creeps in. But I have got myself to a point where I can hear my guides literally dragging me, but it's still my ego is like, no, I'm gonna